Imagine this, more than 100 years ago, back in 1922. Cinema was still in its infancy. No CGI, no sound, just black and white images with piano music playing in the background. And yet, from that simplicity came one of the most legendary horror stories of all time, the film that gave us the very first vampire on screen. This is Nosferatu. The story begins in a small town called Wisborg. We meet Thomas Hutter, a young man living happily with his wife Ellen. They live a simple life, but filled with love. One day, Hutter's employer, a strange man named Knock, summons him. Knock has a new client, a mysterious nobleman from Transylvania who wishes to buy a house in Wisborg. He orders Hutter to travel there and finalize the deal. Although reluctant to leave his wife, Hutter accepts. He sets off on the long journey. Along the way, villagers warn him about an ancient evil that dwells in the castle he seeks. But Hutter laughs it off, thinking it's nothing more than superstition. After a long trek through dark forests and foggy mountains, Hutter finally arrives at the castle, and there we see him for the first time. Count Orlok, tall, thin, bald-headed, with pointed ears and claw-like fingers. His appearance alone is enough to chill the soul. That night, Orlok welcomes Hutter for dinner. But something feels wrong. Hutter wakes the next morning with strange marks on his neck. He assumes they're insect bites, but the audience knows better. While signing papers, Count Orlok sees a picture of Ellen. Immediately, his eyes lock on her. He becomes obsessed. From that moment, Orlok decides not only to buy the house opposite the Hutters, but to claim Ellen for himself. The shadows in the castle grow darker, longer, moving as if alive. Hutter realizes he is trapped with something far beyond human. Soon after, Orlok sets sail for Wisborg aboard a cargo ship. One by one, the crew begins to disappear, their bodies found pale and lifeless. By the time the ship nears port, the crew is gone. Only Orlok remains, and a coffin filled with plague-ridden soil. Meanwhile, Hutter escapes the castle and desperately races home to warn Ellen. But Orlok is already on his way. When the ship reaches Wisborg, the town is struck by terror. A mysterious plague spreads rapidly. Rats swarm the streets, people fall ill, and death stalks every corner. And in the shadows, Orlok waits. Ellen begins to feel his presence. She dreams of him, hears his silent call, and knows she is the one he desires. Desperate, Ellen discovers an old book about vampires. It says, "Only a pure woman who offers herself willingly can distract the vampire until the break of dawn. And then the sunlight will destroy him. It is the only way." And Ellen decides she must sacrifice herself. That night, Ellen opens her window and waits. The shadow of Orlok creeps across the wall, his long fingers stretching toward her. He enters her room, and the terrifying figure bends down. He drinks her blood, unaware of the passing hours. Outside, Hutter rushes home, but he is too late. Ellen has already given herself to save the town. And then the sun rises. The first rays of daylight fall on Orlok's body. He freezes, writhes in agony, and crumbles into nothing but dust. The curse is lifted. Wisborg is safe. But Ellen's sacrifice costs her life. She dies in Hutter's arms, a silent hero whose love destroyed the ancient vampire. Nosferatu is more than just a silent horror film. It is the ancestor of every vampire story that came after. From Dracula to Blade, Interview with the Vampire, even Twilight, they all owe something to Count Orlok. And though it was made over a century ago, the shadow of Nosferatu still haunts cinema today. This is where the legend of the vampire began, and perhaps where it remains the scariest.